Kitzur
Good
Shulchan Aruch, the
afternoon.
abridged code of Jewish law, chapter 141. 141. And it's called the laws of the Megillah, but it's really about Megillah and other Purim-related ideas. So chapter 141. So number one, Aleph. Mishenichnas Adar. Once Adar begins, so that's tonight, Marabin Besimcha, we increase in joy. So I think we mentioned this last year, but increase in joy doesn't mean we become joyous. We're meant to already be joyous. A Jew is always meant to be full of simcha, full of joy, and serving Hashem with simcha, with joy. Yes, we increase. And of course, the reverse of this is with the month of Av, leading up to Tisha B'Av, it comes in, it says Ma'atim b'simcha. We decrease in simcha. Doesn't say that we become depressed and it just says we have less simcha, less joy than usual. But still, always you have to serve Hashem with joy. That's the first thing, and I think as we may have said in the past, there was a mashpia in the yeshiva pre-war, and they asked him practically, how do you increase in joy during Adar? So he answered tongue-in-cheek, and I emphasize this tongue-in-cheek, don't try this at home. But he says, the first day you have one l'chaim, and the second day you have two l'chaims, and the third day you have three l'chaims, and each day increasing in joy. Which, of course, if you have the Jewish leap year with the 2 months of Adar, that's 59 days. It's going to be quite exciting by the end. So then they asked him, okay, then how do you go down in Simcha? So he says, well, the first day you have 30 l'chaims, the second day 29. Right. So as I said, tongue in cheek, but we actually should be doing something each day to help increase our Simcha. So if a Jew has some type of court proceedings or some other matter with a non-Jew, you should try and have this case adjudicated in the month of Adar. The month of Adar is a very positive month for the Jewish people. Okay. Base number 2. The May Mordechai Esther. It's on the time of Mordechai and Esther. So we're not going through the whole Purim story now, but this is at the end. What happened was, the Jews gathered on the 13th day of Adar, to stand up and protect their lives and to free themselves of their enemies. So the war was on the 13th of Adar. That's the day we call the fast of Esther today. And they needed to request divine mercy from Hashem that he should help them. And we find throughout Jewish history that whenever Jews went out to war, they used to fast in order that Hashem should save them. We even see this by Moses. On the day that he went out to wage war with Amalek, he fasted. So if that's the case, that historically Jewish people always fasted when they went out to war, seemingly, also in the days of Mordechai and Esther, they fasted on the 13th of Adar, before they went out to war. And therefore, Kibbul Kol Yisrael, all Jews have accepted Yom Zeh this day, L'Taina Sibur, as a communal fast. So, the fact that we fast has nothing to do with the fast that Esther undertook before she went to see the king. A lot of people think that's why we fast. But the reason it's called Tainis Esther because of that. So we fast because of the war. But Nikra Tainis Esther, but it's called the fast of Esther, to recall, to remind ourselves, to emphasize that Hashem, the creator of the world, Here's the prayers of every person in the time of need, the time of sorrows. When a person fasts and they do tshuva wholeheartedly, they return to Hashem. Just as we see that has happened to our ancestors in those days. So even it's a fast day. So that's number one. Nevertheless, it's not as strict a fast as the 4 fasts that have to do with the destruction of the Beis Mikdash. So since it's a little more lenient, therefore, we can be lenient about this fast in a time of need. So for example, Maboris, Menikos, someone who is pregnant or nursing, or they're just they're feeling a bit off, they're not feeling so well, they've got a headache. If the fast is going to be difficult for them, they don't need to fast. Likewise, a woman is given birth within the last 30 days. Likewise, a chosin and a kala, if the fast comes out in the seven days of the rejoicing, they don't need to fast. For someone who doesn't fast should, in concept, if they're able to, make it up on a different day. We're not so strict about that nowadays. But other people, if they're healthy, they shouldn't separate themselves from the rest of the Jewish people. And even someone who goes on a trip, he's traveling that day, and it's a little bit hard. If it's a lot hard, it's something else. But if it's a little bit hard, then they should fast. So the 13th, they went to war, and we fast on that day because of the war. Gimel, number 3. Now, on the 14th, so what happened was, the war, everywhere except for Shushan, the war lasted 1 day. And so on the 14th, everyone celebrated. They're free. Shushan, the war went another day. It was a 2-day war, and they didn't get to celebrate till the 15th. So on the 14th, who Purim? This is Purim. For the area prosos, for unwalled cities. So any city that wasn't walled at the time of when Joshua came into the land of Israel, conquered the land of Israel. Now, except for Shushan, right? So the city of Shushan, that wasn't walled, didn't even exist when Joshua came into Israel. But the reason we use that as the date is because at the time of Purim, Jerusalem was in ruins, and it didn't have walls. So if we're going to have a walled city from the time of the Purim miracle, then Jerusalem's going to miss out. We don't want Jerusalem to miss out. So therefore, we said, other than Shushan, any city that was walled at the times of Yeshua ben Nun, when Joshua went into Israel, that's what keeps. That's a walled city. Everything else is an unwalled place. So all the unwalled places, we have Purim on the 14th of Adar, and we fast on the 13th. However, the Im Chal Purim B'Yom Rishon, if Purim falls out on a Sunday, so we obviously can't fast on Shabbos for the fast of Esther, and we're not going to fast on the Friday because that's going to ruin Shabbos. People won't be able to have their Shabbos meal in a calm, rational way. So what do? We bring forward the fast of Esther to the Thursday beforehand. Now, as it's not the actual fast of Esther, it's like the fill-in day, Vim Yesh Az Bris Milah. If there's a bris, Yasa Suda Balayla, we make the meal at night. Aval, however, a sandik v'avi ben, the sandik, that's the person who holds the child at the time of the bris, and the parents, they can eat during the day. They don't need to fast again on the Friday. But if someone else, they just forgot and they ate on the Thursday, then they fast on the Friday. So that's the date. Everyone's very quiet today. No questions. I'm getting worried.
I have a question.
Oh, Baruch Hashem. What's the question?
About 10 years ago, my son was in the Israeli army, and they were in active battle. They were going into Gaza and killing terrorists. And when we asked the local Rav about whether he should fast for Yom Kippur or Tisha B'Av, he told me that they're not allowed to fast. If they're in active battle, the soldiers are not allowed to fast, even for Yom Kippur, even for Tisha B'Av, because they have to be physically ready to be able to fight.
Yeah. So this is a part of what I guess we'll call Yeridus Adoris. Each generation has a descent, and we become weaker. So today we have to look at practical pikuach nefesh. If someone is someone's weakened, then the life is a greater risk. In those times, seemingly, that wasn't a factor. So we're able to fast, and we get Hashem's mercy, and we go. Today we have to look at, depends also what the person's role is. Everyone's different. They have different roles. But yeah, a friend of mine.
When I read that script here, I can see that the fighters are not the ones that were fasting.
Possibly.
And Esther were fasting.
No, it's not Esther, it's the Jewish people.
With Moshe Rabbeinu. He wasn't the one fighting in the fight, he was leading it.
True, but by Mordechai and Esther, it was the Jewish people as a whole. Possibly the ones who actually went to war maybe didn't fast, maybe everyone else did. The older people, the younger people, the women, could be. It's possible. It's possible. But in general, I think people were, we have the original human. So Adam,
they say that's why they call it Ta'anit Esther.
No, it's called Ta'anit Esther just to remember that also that the fast
she
she had after her
were
role.
The ones that were fasting.
No, the Jewish people as a whole fast was Bnei Yisrael. But her fast was before Pesach, when Haman got hung. That when she just fasted, but that also all the people fasted with her also to support her. But the original human Adam was perfect. He was a giant, physically, spiritually. He should have lived for 1,000 years. There's a whole story on this for 930 years. Right? He saw prophetically that King David was going to be born as stillborn. So he donated 70 years of his life to King David. So he only lived 930 years. And then each generation after that's like when you make a copy of a key, then you make a copy of a copy, then a copy of a copy. Then eventually, the key becomes less and less perfect. It doesn't open the door so smoothly. Then at a certain point, it doesn't even fit. And so each generation becomes less perfect. That's why we've had shorter lifespans. Even though you might say nowadays we have longer lifespans, Baruch Hashem, but that's because we have better nutrition and better medicine and a higher standard of living. If we would live in the conditions that some people had 200 years ago, who knows we would make it. It's there's this example of this, about almost 20 years ago. I had pneumonia. I was very, very, I was hospitalized, and there's antibiotics via drip. I don't know what they're giving me, but every time they gave me a new batch, I saw fireworks. It was great stuff. But God forbid, pre-antibiotics, if I would have lived in a little shtetl and I would have been malnutritioned and not have a weatherproof house and didn't have antibiotics, I wouldn't have made it. Right? So today, Baruch Hashem, we Baruch Hashem we live longer, we've higher standard, but it doesn't contradict the fact that the generations are weaker. It's just because we have better living conditions, better health, better nutrition, better access to health. So people were stronger. People are stronger. Today, you have to look at the reality. The reality is most people, if they're fasting, they're not functioning the way at an optimum level. And God forbid, if they're on active duty, chas v'shalom. So we, if that's what the Rav told them, that's what they have to do. Dalet, number 4. The Kavod Megillah. Out of honor for the Megillah, when we go to hear the Megillah be read, Yesh Lubush Big Day Shabbos Erev. We should wear Shabbos clothes. So some people think you're only meant to dress up. Doesn't hurt to dress up, but it's better to go in Shabbos clothes in your finery to be able to give honor to the Megillah. When you come home from shul, shouldn't be you come home to who knows what. Before you went, you should have fixed up. So when you come home, you'll find lit candles. I mean, today we just have lights, but in other words, the house should be bright. For Shulchan Aruch, the table should be set. Mitzvah should have a nice tablecloth. And that's, in other words, the house should be also an honor of Purim.
Rabbi,
yeah,
I have another question. I'm sorry.
No, please.
In Lubavitch, we wear kapata on Shabbos.
Yeah.
So on Purim, many people also wear kapata.
Correct, because of this.
Right. So my question is, how come we don't wear kapata on Hanukkah?
So Purim, it's the honor of the Megillah. So there's not a Megillah on Hanukkah. For the a person should wear, if they normally do this, a hat jacket, and a gartel, and things for lighting menorah. But there are some Yidden who do wear Shabbos clothes when they light menorah. But it's the honor of the Megillah. It's this.
I thought it was the honor of the Yom Tov.
No, it's the honor. It's the honor of the Megillah reading. Yeah. Okay, so Arvis, the evening service. So we essentially have a regular weekday evening service until the Shemona Esrei. To the middle, we add Al Hanissim, which we'll speak about later. Well, after Shemona Esrei, but after the Shemona Esrei, after the middle, Oimim Kaddish Shalom Intis Kabel. We say the full Kaddish with everything that goes in it. The Kohen is Megillah, and then we read the Megillah. Right, the ganze Megillah, right, the whole thing. We read. Afterwards, Oimrim B'Ata Kodesh. We say it's something that's often said on most Saturday nights. We'll skip the brackets if you have brackets in yours. And afterwards, Kaddish Shalom Beloidis Kabel. We say the full Kaddish missing one of the lines because we've already done that. And you only do that line once. And B'motzei Shabbos, if it's a Saturday night, which is not this year, then we add the various things that we say on Saturday night and make Havdalah. Okay. Hey, number 5. Now we're getting back to pre-Purim. So the fast of Esther, the day before Purim. So we mentioned yesterday about the half shekel. So the half shekel was given. Half shekel is given during the month of Adar. The half shekel went, so everyone had a share in the communal offerings. So in the Hagil and Kodim Purim, we have a custom. So it's not obligation, but it's a very important custom. That before Purim, we give a coin of half the currency of whatever time and place you are. Zeichel amach is the shekel is remembrance of the half shekel, which they gave in Adar for the communal offerings. So in America, we give $50, right? So you can't get $50 coins, but the idea is give $50 coins. In Australia, in America, the $50 is not a standard coin. You can get it, but they're a little unusual. In Australia, 50-cent coin is one of the standard coins. It's very easy to get it. Some people you can get silver $50, better because nice remembrance because of the half shekel of silver, but it doesn't matter. The idea is to give half of whatever currency you are. So in Israel, they actually give half a shekel, right? It's not the real half a shekel. Shekel is actually a weight in silver. So the real half shekel coin was a piece of silver, a certain weight. Today we just borrowed the term, and they call it shekel. But they have a half shekel coin. So we give a half, and not only do we give a half of the currency, minig litain shalosh machatzios. The custom is to even give 3 halves. So we'll give $1.50, 3 50-cent coins. Why 3 halves? Mishum da pashas kisisaksiv, because in the section in the Torah that tells us about this mitzvah, it says shalosh ba'am truma. The word that speaks about collecting the half shekel, the word truma, which means a gift, a donation, is mentioned 3 times. So we give. So the custom is we give 3. So most shuls, what they do is they put a few 50-cent coins, like in a plate or something, and people come and they put down other money, they exchange it, they pick up the 3 50-cent coins, so they acquire them, but then they give that stock, it goes back in the stocker plate, and then the next person does the same thing. Many people also give for each member of their family, as we're going to mention in a moment. But nice in the Erev lefnei Kriyas Megillah, and we do this in the afternoon before we read the Megillah. Machalkim oisim laniyim, and this money is distributed to the needy. Cotton potter, a child under bar mitzvah, does not need to give this half shekel. However, if the father gives for him even once, he's obligated to give every year till he grows up and he does it himself. So the custom generally is to give for one's children if they're underage. Now, the real half shekel, people started giving from 20 years old. So the question is, this remembrance, does it start from 13 or 20? So what happens practically? Ben Shalosh Esrei Shana, Yesh Orim D'Chayiv, Yesh Orim D'Potter. Someone who's 13 years old, so he's now obligated the mitzvahs. Some say he's obligated to start giving this half shekel as a remembrance, and some say he's not. Achia ben Esrim until he's 20. So what do? They give, and the father gives. The father keeps giving till they're 20, and they give between 13 and 20, and then the father can stop at 20. So I've got some kids that are 20 now, or when the girls and they're married, their husband gives for them. So, yep, some kids give, and I give for some kids, and some kids we both give because they're between 13 and 20, and then of the younger kids, just as I give for them. Okay, Vav number 6. Bapurim, Arve Shachris and Mincha, at the 3 services, 3 Amidas, 3 Shemon Esrei in Purim, we say Al Hanissim. Al Nissim literally means on account of the miracles, but it's a special prayer of thanks where we thank Hashem on account of the miracles, because of the miracles. It's on Purim, it's a smaller 3 paragraphs. Shachach, Dinah, Chanukah, and if someone forgot to say it, it's the same law as Chanukah, which is he does not have to repeat.
Rabbi,
yeah,
a question. I've seen people, and I started to do it because I saw other people do it. They take the 3 coins and they lift it up and they put it into the plate, and they do that 3 times for each person.
No, well, if you have 3 coins, you only have to give it once per person because you're doing all 3 at once. You're doing 3 coins per person. You need to lift it up because that's how you acquire it. Because if you put in other money, so you need to lift it up at least the tefach, at least the width of the hand of that's the act of acquiring. But you only need to do it once per person if you have 3 coins at once. If it's only the one 50-cent coin, well, then you would do it 3 times.
So the people that are lifting 3 coins up 3 times, they're just making a mistake because.
Or maybe they're doing it for their kids.
I've seen it for each person they're doing it, but maybe they just fell into the mistaken custom.
Yeah, I mean, this is some other factor we're not aware of about them. But if you have the 3 coins, that is giving 3 times for each person. Okay. Zion, number 7. Chayib kol adam ben ish ben isha lishma kris megillah b'layla v'yom. Every single person, man and woman, are obligated to hear the Megillah on the night and the day of Purim. So we need to hear it twice. Once at night. So night means from nightfall until dawn or till sunrise. And during the day is from sunrise until sunset. So better not to leave it till 3 o'clock in the morning because it's easy to fall asleep and then you miss out an opportunity. But it's a very important thing to hear the Megillah. And therefore, even the young married girls who didn't usually go to shul in those days, in Hungary at least, they would go to shul to hear the Megillah. And if someone can't go to shul to hear it, then we should go to the house and read for them. So again, if there's some reason why someone can't make it out, you know, someone's in hospital or is housebound and various things, someone can come and read. We're also obligated to educate children under Bar and Bas Mitzvah. They should come hear Megillah. Nevertheless, we shouldn't bring very little children that can't stay quiet because they're going to interrupt, they're going to disturb the Megillah reading. And people have to hear every single word. And if there's kids making noise, and they're not able to hear. Okay, Ches number 8. Megillah Shalayla. The nighttime Megillah. Also, you can't read it before the stars come out, for the nightfall. Now, I just will mention to you at time of great need, they could be slightly lenient, but generally speaking, not. Even if someone's suffering a lot from the fast, you are allowed to taste something before the Megillah. For example, coffee gedaimer. This is so to strengthen yourself in exhaustion of fast. I just want to point out, some people are very, very strict that they will not have anything before hearing the Megillah. Now, the most important part is to hear every word of the Megillah. Now, there are many people who, after fasting all day, some people find it easier, some people find it more difficult. Some people who are fasting, it's actually very difficult, maybe not impossible for them to hear every word. They don't have the attention span when they're tired. And so in our shul, I mean, what we do is we actually, before Megillah, we put out some cake, something to drink, some coffee. I'm not telling other shuls what to do, but I do think it's a good thing. And then people are able to, instead of their thought through the whole Megillah is, oh, when's the Megillah going to be over so I can get something to eat? Instead, they're happily following along in the Megillah. And, a coffee is, I got to say, personally, I'm not a big Coke drinker. But after a fast, I don't mind a sip. A little bit of coffee and a bit of caffeine and sugar in one shot. It's, anyway. So it's That's the Megillah. And we've run out of time, so we shall continue next week. Any questions before we finish up? No? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wish everyone a wonderful week.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And,
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye,
Rabbi.
everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rabbi.